so 11 years old. That's where I knew it was the path to take. Earliest memory are definitely my dad, sitting down on the piano with him since I was a baby. I didn't really like give this, I didn't have these layers and edges and shades out of my voice. I met someone that destroyed my ego and I built myself up. And that's why I say, yes, I started learning how to sing when I stopped just being a good voice. I don't have all of this bag of thoughts that I would have before. I just do. And it just works. Like something touched me about London. You know what? I've got money and I've got me and I love London. So let's go there. Salsa is something that helped me connect with the present of being in these realities, If you feel the music, like, just do your thing and just enjoy it. And, that's my message.
Do you have a story you're trying to tell through your music?
There's always a story, yeah. There's always a story.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tamp Podcast. Today, we are sitting down with an artist whose journey is as layered and soulful as the music she creates. Born in Italy into a musical family, she began her relationship with music through the piano, later teaching herself guitar and discovering the true power of her voice, not through technique alone, but by learning to sing from the heart. She is also immersed in the world of coffee, which is what led us to cross paths in the first place. So welcome, Luna Roja. Welcome to the Tamp Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Right, let's get right into the music side of things. What are your earliest memories of being touched or affected by music?
So earliest memory are definitely my dad, sitting down on the piano with him since I was a baby and playing with toy pianos and his guitar, actually. That's all I remember.
What kind of music did he play?
He would play from classical music, so I remember very well Mozart, to Eric Clapton, to a lot of soul, a lot of gospel music, randomly, but spacing really from a lot of genre of music.
So it sounds like he was quite a highly, what should we say, trained, practiced musician.
Yeah, like I would say, a highly hobbyistic, because he never really pursued his career, but he definitely had like a very good knowledge and a very good base for like very good music.
Piano was your first instrument.
Yeah.
Was that because of accessibility or because of your dad playing?
Yeah, because my dad. Because my dad. Dad is a pianist and a guitarist. So.
And that kind of inspired you to want to follow in his footsteps?
Not really. I was kind of dragged into it.
Oh, really?
Not pushed, but yeah, like at 6 years old, like, you're gonna study piano. There you go. And that's it. That's how it started.
And so you didn't like it to begin with?
It's not that I didn't like it, but it was just something, it happened, and when you're a kid, you just do what your parents do and say. They're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do what they say. I didn't like reading music. That's something that I always hated so much.
And at what point did music kind of stop being a thing that you were doing and become something far more deeper or substantial?
I'd say when I started being a teenager, so 11 years old. That's where I knew it was the path to take.
And what was that? Was that the music you were listening to then? What vibe were you in around there? What music was inspiring you then?
Well, when I was 11 years old, you know what? I remember a specific song, like one specific song that was the first song I sang on a stage as well myself. And it was Killing Me Softly by the Fugees.
Nice, Lauryn Hill.
So that song, I don't know, it's something spiritual.
It's a very powerful song.
Yeah.
And the way Lauryn Hill sang it was also very powerful.
Yeah.
How did teaching yourself guitar shape your approach today? And how was that different to, for example, being forced to do piano lessons as a kid?
Again, it was very natural. I remember when I was 18, like, I carried a guitar in my first, like the first place I went to live alone by myself. And I started strumming the first 2 chords, and then eventually it happened a little bit more when I was here in London. So I was like, okay, let's fine tune a couple of things, and you take it a little bit more seriously. I took a couple of classes, but I never did it like religiously as piano was, for example, when I was a kid, where, every Tuesday and Wednesday you got piano lesson for like years and years of your life. So it felt natural, and guitar is such a different approach than piano. It's way more like, okay, my hand today can do this. That's it. I can't overforce it more than what it is. So it was so natural. So natural. And I kept it very simplistic. That's what I love about guitar. I'm not a virtuoso. And that's why I love it so much, because it just let me express naturally without going around too much in circles. Little I do, but little enough.
It's interesting because when I was a kid, I was forced to take piano lessons and I didn't like them.
Aye.
And then as a teenager, I picked up the guitar and taught myself the guitar. So very,
That's
very similar.
awesome.
And I've always seen the piano and the guitar, they're very similar instruments. In my head, the piano is basically, so guitar, you got 6 strings and the frets.
Yeah.
The piano is the same, but it's just all laid out. It's just laid out right in front of you.
Yeah.
But essentially, the piano is a stringed instrument as well, if you
Yeah.
think about it. People don't often open them up and look inside, but there are strings inside.
Of course.
You said when singing that you truly learned to sing when you connected your heart to your voice. Can you explain this to me in more detail?
So I did take singing lesson when I was back in Italy, in a gospel choir.
Wow.
And for some reason, God knows why. And I did take private lesson as well after that. And it's for sure, like, technically kind of helps out, developing your whole belting and technical stuff and make your voice powerful. But I had an issue that when you've got too much power in you, it's difficult to maneuver it. It's like having a Ferrari and not having a driving license. I mean, you're just gonna be like, that's it. So truly, at the beginning, I was screaming a lot, said in few words. I was screaming a lot. I didn't really like give this, I didn't have these layers and edges and shades out of my voice. And didn't give importance to the little soft parts as well. And the balance between the two extremes. And that took me a good 10 years to learn in London, because I met someone that destroyed my ego and I built myself up.
But that was an intentional destruction, or was that like...
No, he wanted to help me, and he was an actor. So he was like helping me, truly. Harshly, have you seen the movie Whiplash?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
Kind of thing.
Wow.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, harshly, straightforward. No bollocks. Sorry. Straightforward. And that's why I say, yes, I started learning how to sing when I stopped just being a good voice.
It's something that kind of comes with age as well, isn't it?
It does, indeed.
Learning how to harness skills, how to fine tune them, because what you're talking about is how to implement detail.
Absolutely.
The younger we are, we're all like, everything's simple, everything's good or everything's bad, everything's strong or everything's weak.
Yeah.
When you get older, it's all a bit more about the intricacies.
It is, but also I would say that especially when it comes to singing, you can either decide to become a singer or an artist. And an artist comes with a different package,
Explain the difference to me between singer and artist.
So if you're just a singer, I would say, at least in my case, if I would have stopped in being a singer, you learn the technique. And I'm not saying all the singers, but how can I explain that? If you limit yourself to interpretar.
I'm not going to interrupt you, but I was just going to say, in Portuguese, there is a differentiation between a songwriter and they call it intérprete.
Eso, exactly.
And in English, we don't have that. And in Portuguese, so you can say also intérprete, which means you sing other people's songs.
I got you.
Or you're a singer-songwriter, you create. So that's the difference you're trying to make, right?
100%. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
And so the main difference there comes with writing your own material.
Yeah. But not really. It also comes, I guess, like a good singer, like a good voice is something you can technically develop. But a singer with layer like Lauryn Hill, I mean, there's something in there that comes with your persona. rather than like there are great, amazing voices, like quite impressive, but they stay there. And then you got layers. You got gin and whiskey. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Some voices have stories. You know, there are people who are incredibly trained, who have perfect, clean voices, and then you've got, you know, the Bob Marley of the world, which was pure emotion. But I'm sure a lot of vocal coaches will say, no, well, Bob Marley shouldn't have been doing this with his voice or that with his voice, or, you know. But, you know, as you said, there's raw emotion and there's skill. Skill can be taught.
Bravo.
Raw emotion
Exactly.
can't.
That's what I'm talking about.
And it was this teacher that taught you that then, here in London.
He was a friend, actually. He wasn't even a teacher. He was a friend and a mentor that really taught me a lot.
Was there a particular moment in time, well, I guess is the answer, you've already answered, but it's this mental, which led to this change, and this change of implementing more emotion into your music and more detail? Did this happen when you met this person?
Yeah, he opened a bit my world. He opened a bit my world, I would say.
So how do you see music differently now as to before that?
Now it's like I don't have all of this bag of thoughts that I would have before in order to activate as an artist or as a singer. I just do. And it just works. And I know when I'm cheating to myself. And it doesn't happen that oftenly because I know whenever I'm singing, I'm just singing. Or I'm just writing. I'm just feeling. And before it was a bit like, okay, let's do maybe something that this is. And you can sit down and breathe. That's a completely different story, but it's production story. So I'm just talking about the raw singing and the raw, you know, putting down a song or writing a song. It just, at least at first, like the first input that I've got, it just genuine. It's just like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Before it was, again, there was a lot of congestion in my brain about making things in a certain way. Again, coming from confidence perhaps as well. So, you know, when you are not super confident, you kind of want to try to emulate something else. And you're still discovering your persona too. So, and you know, again, I guess the time kind of helps developing you.
And discovering your skill set, because what it sounds like to me is that you've basically mastered your instrument. That's what it sounds like to me. Your instrument being your voice, of course. And I say that because normally when a musician gets to the point where they've mastered their instrument, whichever it may be, is when they start playing the instrument without thinking. And
I believe that. Amen.
just flows. It
Amen.
could be Jimi Hendrix, it could be Paco de Lucia, it could be, you know, whatever.
Amen.
Let's talk about London for a bit.
Yes.
You came here 12 years ago. What led you to come here?
I came here on holiday when I was 18, and I liked it. And I'll make it long story short, just because.
We've got time.
Okay. But realistically, when I came back from the holidays, something touched me about London. But, you know, it was just a holiday with a friend. So I was like, okay, well, go back to your life in Italy and work. And I started saving money for a purpose that was moving in with a partner at the time, until that purpose didn't go the way that it was meant to be. And I was like, you know what? I've got money and I've got me and I love London. So let's go there. And I moved. Although my initial intention, and it's always been my dream since, like, at least it was my dream when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to America at first. But it was a bit too much of a jump at 18. So I said, okay, well, I just been to London. I liked it. That's how it worked, really.
And how did the city shape you musically and personally?
Oof. I tell you what, one thing that shaped me a lot, it's been my job in a bar in Camden that it's called Spiritual Bar and has incredible musicians. At least at the time, some of the musicians were insane.
Rafael?
You know Rafael, yeah, claro.
Wow. Wow. Sorry. Okay. No, sorry, I interrupted
No,
you.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
So I worked there for 5 years.
Okay.
And I crossed paths with some musician that I'll name one because I really love him as a musician, and it was and chapeau, honestly, I love that guy, Michael Kiwanuka.
Yeah.
He used to come there for beers, and I was serving Camden Hells. And the music in there, I think it's the only place in London where you genuinely can find this music community, like meaning as like the folklore, the I don't know.
It's music for the sake of music.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
I know that bar. I used to know it very well. I used to spend quite a lot of time with Rafa. I used to hang around there a lot. And what he did with that bar was quite incredible. And the level of musicians coming in was unreal.
Yeah.
Just people walking in, belting this music out, pure emotion. So yeah, I can relate. I've even played in it.
Have I ever served you? I don't know.
This is a long time ago, but yeah. Well, it's nice to know that that's still going, and that music is still at the core of what they're doing there. I think I remember going upstairs. There was like a little studio upstairs
Yeah,
at one point.
I was already out when he started like doing the studio, because it was literally like my first 5 years in London. So
Yeah.
I worked there like now 10 years ago almost.
Yeah.
And then onward. So
Now you don't work in that bar any longer, right? So how do you stay creative and inspired artistically while working different jobs?
not thinking.
Not
Leaving.
not thinking while working, or just not
No,
thinking
just,
about
I
it?
mean, I mean, just not like living every single moment without thinking too much about, okay, I need to get inspired. Like sometimes you get inspired by something that just comes out of the blue and you just don't decide it. It just happens. So you just leave in there and that's it.
So you never had a difficulty kind of stepping into a work environment for a shift, for example, and then clocking out and then stepping into being an artist? You never found that transition?
I did feel that many times. The frustration as well, obviously, because you want to be somewhere else and you want to do somewhere else, and you go only, I wish there were like 56 hours in a day sometimes. So obviously sometimes it's a bit like, oh, I have to work 8 hours. Plus, of course, the funding music as well. You're supporting your music and you need to work because you need to support it. But I don't know, lately I kind of take it a little bit easier. I don't know. I'm just like, God's time. Really.
Can you describe the moment Latin music became more than just a genre?
Oh. So I was in London and I used to work in another bar. And at the end, no, not at the end, during my shifts, I used to listen to cumbia. And I used to be somewhere else by listening to that. I want to be somewhere else. And then Fuerteventura happened. So I moved to Fuerteventura because I was so done of London. And I mean, I don't know, it's something so special. Like I just feel it inside. It's like, matter of fact, well, I've also been a boxer and I'm kickboxer for a long period of my life. And I don't know. I get excited now to say it. Like it's something that lights me inside. And when I used to train, I used to listen to it. When I wanted to pump myself up, I was listening to salsa and to cumbia and to old music, old Latin. I like Spanish music as well. Like you mentioned Paco de Lucia as well. Like all of this stuff. Like, and I don't know. It just burns inside me. I don't know why. I have no idea. I have no idea. It just sits right.
You might find this as a surprise, but I totally understand exactly what you're saying.
Thank you.
I've had very similar experience with Latin music. For me, particularly with reggae. And people often ask me, how did you get into it? How does it mean so much to you? And I just can't explain it. It's something which I just listened to. I felt it makes perfect sense to me. It impacts me very deep, very, very deep. But one of the reasons I was asking you about the transition from kind of work life to artist life is exactly because, for good or for bad, I ended up giving up my artist life when I opened this place. And I know you've heard my EP, which I never released, which I should release. And actually, I don't know if you realized, but one of my tracks is used as the soundtrack to this podcast. So that's the first time many people are going to hear it. But I do think I found it very difficult to be a business owner, run a business, and be an artist. I find there were two different compartments in my head I needed to be in. And I couldn't do them simultaneously. And one of them was paying my bills, the other one wasn't. So that's kind of the reason behind my asking that question. And I'm curious, what happened in the Canary Islands? Your eyes lit up when you spoke about Fuerteventura. Was it? I mean, first tell us when did you go and what led you to go there?
Oh, led me to go. Like, I was tired of here. I was tired. I was working a lot. I was working like 45 hours a week. And I didn't even play music at the time. And then I had a friend over there and he was like, come for a holiday. It was a friend from home. So I was like, come for a holiday. And I was like, all right. Then a holiday becomes 2 weeks. Then 2 weeks become 1 month. So, and I don't know, it was... Fuerteventura, the reason why my highs lit is because it's an island and it's very slow paced. And when you're used to London, or even Italy, because even Italy is not the same pace as Fuerte, I was like, wow, like I can see the stars in the nighttime. I can breathe. And that was like, and I learned that I don't have to work all the time. And I can slow down if I have to. So that's why it was like kind of reconnecting a little bit.
Which we have to.
Yeah.
Even if it just means getting out of London. I mean, us as a family, when we can, we'll drive out for the weekend just to go stay at a friend's place on a farm or see animals.
Exactly.
Got a little daughter, want her to see nature. And
True.
Noches de salsa and despecho is what you said. Tell me more about these and how these experiences helped you discover more about yourself.
Our London, like you said, family, non-existent, and I needed an evasion from here. And when I mean say noche de despecho de salsa, it's because like I started like hanging out a lot of Latin clubs in London, and I learned how to dance, and I learned how to, enjoy in a different way, because I never really liked London like nightlife, to be honest. Like it's never been my cup of tea. I would listen to a lot of Latin music by going out, and I would connect to the culture, really. That's why it kind of, I don't know. Like I said before, I go to work and I don't think, and I just do things, right? I like stay present. That's what I'm trying to say. So staying present in music is not idealizing about things, but by living things. So that's why I'm saying like, not just the despecho de salsa is something that helped me connect with the present of being in these realities, rather than our idealizing of que rico or things like that.
And with regards to the London nightlife, I want to give a shout out to a friend here. Hopefully you'll know of them, but you must have gone to some of the movimientos.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So Callum.
Of course.
Good old Callum. In fact, I should get Callum on the podcast.
Fantastic.
He should come on here, do one. Do a
I would love
Movimiento
to.
special.
Claro.
Their night, for me, transformed my experience of London in the evening. Because when you say you didn't like London nightlife, I'm presuming you mean to the more mainstream electronic music.
Yeah, electronic or the classic, like, okay, I go to the pub, I get drunk, and then...
Yeah.
Like,
because there is some great stuff out there.
no, I bet there is.
People like Callum and what he does, just
Ooh, yeah.
amazing. Latin America.
Mm.
You saved money to move to Peru by brewing coffee.
Yeah.
What drove that decision?
After a lot of noche de salsa y de despecho, like, well, I was like, no, I need to go there. I need to leave it on my skin. I need to go in there. And I said, I'll do it.
And why Peru?
There were a few countries in the list to choose between. But okay, first of all, I wanted somewhere with an ocean. But I didn't want it to be neither Cuba or Puerto Rico. No, I was like, okay. Because I wanted something different. And then it was in between Colombia, Peru, and Colombia and Peru. But because I had friends that could help me out connect over there, Peru happened. So that was the one naturally again.
And can you tell me about your experience out there?
I loved it so much. And like you said at the beginning, it was so difficult to come back. Because, so first and foremost, I didn't work when I was there. I was just waking up, getting to know the city, getting to know people, meeting the culture over there as well. And again, like I could rely on my saving at the time. So obviously I had my own time. And it was a shock as well because I'd never been, here you got a lot of diversity and you kind of, somehow fit in somehow. But over there, like I was the different one. And at first I was like, okay, wow, there is a different circumstance in the world. Like, how does this work? It took me a couple of weeks before I could kind of understand.
The tables had turned.
Yeah. But I loved it very much because, like, I always say that, like, the eyes of the people over there look different. And they, the honesty, the way they're humble, the way I saw, like, one of the things that hit me the most were kids. Like, shining like I've never seen anywhere else around the world.
Kids are happier.
Yeah, and they have nothing. And it was so real. That's why I loved it. It was so real. So real, everything.
Tell me about the music in Lima. What were your first impressions or your impressions of Lima's music and culture scene?
I went, okay, I think the second week I went to like una descarga de salsa.
So tell us, what's a descarga?
Descarga, like a jam session.
Okay.
So, and it was...
So that's a jam session for musicians or for dancers?
For musicians.
For musicians.
For musicians. That was the first, like, wow, okay. I wanna play with these people. And I jumped on the stage and I played too. And then one of the best experience I've done is that I met this... Okay, one day I was walking on the street and I hear music coming from somewhere. And I'm like, wow, let me get in. So I go inside this place and era una casa para mayores, so like an old people house. And there was this man playing guitar and he was insane. And I was like, oh my God, I need to play with this person. So, and I learned about criolla music, which is the typical folklore music from there. Then I met the rap scene as well. So I met a lot of rappers. I went to Batalla de Gallo, like rap battles and things like that. And it's crazy, like you got so many different, then you see a lot of, again, folkloristic music, a lot of, the typical Peruvian flute and stuff like that. I don't know, it's so diverse.
It's incredibly diverse.
Yeah.
And Latin America, because each country has its own music, each country has its own folklore.
Yeah.
it's difficult to put into words how diverse it is. Because you just told us about folklore, salsa,
Exactly.
rap, right?
Exactly.
You go to another country next door in Argentina, you've got tango, you've got you have folklore,
Yeah.
Argentinian as well. In Brazil, right, then you're just multiplying the genres by about 20
Yeah.
because it's just like there are so many genres.
Of course.
It's crazy. But I completely understand the wealth and depth and of music and culture in Latin America, and it's very difficult to put into words.
Yeah.
Can you recall a specific moment in Peru that left a mark on you as an artist?
Oh, yes. Once I was walking on the street and somebody stopped me and I was like, look, I'm an honest person. You show me the passport. And I'm looking for someone to look in my bar as it's called anfitriona in Spanish, which means the lady that makes people drink. Okay. And I was like, look, no, thank you. But I'm a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter. That's what I do. I do music. And he was like, oh, wow, that's great. Like, come to my club and sing. And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Let's do it, you know? So the day comes and I get there and it was already looking a bit weird, the surrounding. I was like, where the hell did I put myself into? And I started like going down this place with stairs and I see like a picture of Pablo Escobar and a picture of Tony Montana from Scarface. And I stopped a minute. I was like, yo, where are you taking me? And the bouncer are escorting me. Okay. So there was like the bouncer walking down with me. I was like, then I go downstairs. Okay. And well, it was a strip club. It was a strip club. And in that moment, I was like, all right, cool. Well, you know, what you gotta do? You gotta do what you gotta do.
And so you were playing your music in the strip club?
I played my music, dressed up. I mean, I was dressed up normally. I wasn't stripping, but I sang my music. But why did it define me? There is a reason why. Because on the first row, there was a man that was singing every single word of the song because I was singing a cover in a certain moment. And you could feel like he was connected. So in that moment, not only him, also like some of the girls over there. And in that moment, I said, you know what? It doesn't matter who you sing for, where you sing in, why you sing in. Like, as long as it just arrives and lands to people hard, just do it. And that was 8 moments.
That's quite deep because I think it defines an artist as a real artist and not so many of what we get, which are people trying to use music as a means to make wealth. And those are two very different purposes for creating music, which in turn create two very different results with the music that is made. And I think it makes a lot of sense that this is your belief system, listening to your music and how impactful and powerful it is.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense now understanding how you think. You said you weren't working out there, so I was going to ask you what were the challenges of kind of sustaining yourself out there, or had you you had already pre-funded it, I guess.
Yeah.
You had worked, so you could just enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah.
And how long were you out there for?
Like half a year, 6 months. Yeah.
Have you been back?
No, unfortunately. I was meant to, but I had to cancel the flight.
Okay, let's get into the music side of things.
Epa.
You describe your music as blending surf guitars, cinematic storytelling, and gritty landscapes, which I may say is the perfect description. I personally would probably throw in a little bit of Frida Kahlo and some Robert Rodriguez movies in there too.
Put Tarantino as well, maybe.
And exactly, Tarantino, Rodriguez, they're They're kind of brothers in arms.
The same soup.
Yeah. How did your sound evolve?
Naturally again, because I always listen a lot to. I started listening to Hermano Gutierrez when they first. Do you know them?
No, not off the top of my head.
So it's quite. It's instrumental music, and and it's just there are two guitarists, and it's quite. It evokes like a lot of Wild West sort of landscapes and things like that. And I used to listen a lot to them, again, together with the Latin music. And when I sat down with the producer at the time, we created this just naturally by what I like and what I kind of felt myself belonging to, like somehow, it just naturally happened again.
But did you find, was there an evolution of your songwriting, or did you kind of, you feel you fell into this and it was quite clear from day one, your style?
It wasn't clear from day one. No, it wasn't. Like one of the first single I released was a salsa, but that's the thing with songwriting. Like you can write any sort of style. It's more about how you like how do you say this is Luna Roja sound? And it just happened because, again, I put down on the table and lay my cards. I'm like, okay, this is me. How can I somehow conjoin it all together? And I kind of felt fitting quite a lot with this because it has a massive spectrum. So I can go from 0 to hero to not 0 to hero, but 0 to 100. And you got all of these shades between the Latin music. And then again, you can put this influence. So yeah, it just fit me perfectly.
So you include genres as influences such as cumbia, boleros, son, rancheras. How do you honor the roots of this music, but keep your voice unique?
In what sense? I'm trying to understand.
In the sense that when using genres or styles of music as an influence, it's quite easy to fall in to replicate what they're doing, right?
Oh,
That's
okay,
what I mean.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
So,
how? Because I'm Italian. Because I'm Italian, and so I am not copying anybody. I'm just being Italian, listening to Latin music, and that's why it comes out so naturally. Because I'm not trying to replicate absolutely nobody, and I won't be able to.
So you think that gives you a different sound, a different angle?
It does. I have a different perspective on the first place. I do, and it just works magically.
So much of Latin music, especially with the genres that influence you, which are the more kind of the origin genres, should we call them? The rancheros, the boleros.
Okay.
These were massively storytelling genres. Do you have a story you're trying to tell through your music?
There's always a story, yeah. There's always a story. Each song is a story, yeah. 100%.
And do you think there is a collective story behind the songs?
Story of my life, really. Story of my life.
Because this leads on to my next question.
Ooh.
Do you see yourself as a storyteller?
Yeah.
Would you see yourself as a storyteller first, musician second, musician first, storyteller second, 50-50?
50-50, I would say. Yeah, there's no I don't know, like, but maybe storyteller first, because I naturally like would talk stories, and then you put music to it, you add your own.
Curiously, I didn't ask this at the beginning, but did they play a role in your childhood? At home, were stories shared, parents and stuff like that? Was that a part of your upbringing as well?
If they would tell stories, like when I was a kid.
Like at home, yeah, stories.
Yeah. Just made me laugh. It just made me remember me of my grandma. She would tell me always the same story, the same one. Like, and I was always like, "Mom, like, Grandma, can you please like tell me again Red Riding Hood? Caperucita
Roja.
Eso, qué casualidad, eh?
What have been your biggest personal and professional transformations?
Like achievements or
Yeah, could be achievements. Changes. I'd say changes. Yeah.
When I started producing the songs per se. That was my first, okay, I put my head in a different box. Like the last two songs I released, like songs that you can find on my social medias and everything, these was when I started producing them and sit down with a producer and work with a producer seriously. That's been the turning point of my career for sure. It's in
That's so
achievement
there was a
and
clear kind of pre and post that.
100%. 100%.
And something else you mentioned, which I think is really important, especially for any musicians who might listen or watch to this, or watch this. You mentioned about creating a brand as a musician.
Yeah.
How important is it for a musician to create and develop a brand? Because people might think, oh, it's just about writing songs and singing, or it might just be about performing. As an artist, to break through, you need a lot more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how you want to do music. That's just what makes a difference. I mean, you can love music and keep the love for music for yourself and just enjoy your time playing music, which is absolutely respectable. I'm not, saying it's just what makes the difference is when you start like you want to play with the big guys and you want to like market yourself. Well, you got to think about what you have to do. Like it's the same for, coffee. I can make coffee at home for myself, or I can decide to open a coffee shop and say, okay, cool, I want this thing to work. So that's where you start like thinking about branding yourself.
Because I think this is something which traditionally used to be left to the big labels, didn't it? If we think of music industry, 50 years ago,
Yeah.
a musician, they would send their EP or a demo to a studio. The studio would pick it up.
Yeah.
They'd get assigned an A&R manager.
Yeah.
Then they'd get a manager. And then all of these managers and the label would start to say, right, we're going to make you look like this. You're going to do it. And they would curate the musicians. And what I think is different today is that you can curate yourself.
100%, yeah. 100%.
Which is much more free.
Yeah, 100%.
I think I know what you're going to say, but which project or song, could be plural, are you most proud of and why?
Well, for the ones that are out, obviously, I really like Duelo. I really like it. I'm proud of it, but I'm proud and I mean, it's a bold statement, so. And it's I'm here. And it's the first time I'm like, yeah, I'm here.
You definitely make your presence known. It is bold and it's beautiful and it's powerful. What kind of a legacy would you like to leave in the Latin music world?
I would say I'd like to, at least this is, I'm just going to say like, this is more like of the message I'd like to leave. Like music is for everybody, regardless where you're from, what you want to do, how you want to sing and which language you want to sing. If you feel it and if it's your thing, just go for it. That's what I want to say. Like music is for everybody. It doesn't belong to a box of people of certain ethnicity. You should be free to be yourself. And if people enjoy it, whether they speak Spanish, they don't, or Italian, whatever language really. If you feel the music, like just do your thing and just enjoy it. And that's my message.
This is, I think I can ask you the same question twice and just change the last word, right? Where is home now, geographically?
Big question. I don't feel there's home now yet.
You're on the road. And where is home spiritually?
Across the ocean. Yeah.
In Peru?
Don't know if in Peru, but not here.
In the Americas.
In the Americas.
Las Americas. Before we end, is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers or listeners? Anything you like?
I think I said a lot on the message part, which is what I really mean with all of this. and I kind of feel it like it's my purpose. So I would invite people to watch my last video that just came out, definitely, because it's been a beautiful collaboration I've done, and it's been something special with a guy from Sendero, and that's definitely something I would invite people to give it a watch.
So right now you can tell people how to find you, your socials, your
Okay.
music.
Awesome. So you can all find me on Instagram, like Luna Roja. I don't know where to watch now because I don't know who I'm talking to.
Look at me.
So, okay, well, you can find me on Instagram, Luna Roja Music. You got me on obviously Spotify, Apple Music, all the major platform for music, Luna Roja. And again, the last session that I've done with Sendero, you can find it on YouTube and Instagram. And I'm on TikTok too.
You got any upcoming shows or residencies or anything like that?
Not yet. I've got something coming up from next year.
Okay.
But definitely something might come up earlier than that. 100%.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Muchísimo gusto.
Well, gusto todo mío.
De verdad.
If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.